Oh god. When she let you beat the pussy up after the first date. Danny Phantom, let's go. The fuck happened to his shoes?
Story time!
Oh boy! Story time! Story time! Story time!
Story time?
So Nicktoons Unite begins at Bikini Bottom, which was peaceful at first, but then Plankton gets on the mic. Not to spit some bars, but to announce that him and the rest of the syndicate are going to take over Bikini Bottom. Interesting.
Those of you who don't want me to rule, raise your hand. Get them!
So the syndicate robots suck up Bikini Bottom citizens and SpongeBob has no idea what to do. But then Jimmy Neutron randomly shows up.
Ah! Don't eat me!
Hello, SpongeBob. We haven't met, but believe me, I'm your friend. Plankton has joined forces with villains from other worlds, and with their help, he's taking over Bikini Bottom.
Anyway, after Jimmy speaks to SpongeBob briefly about the syndicate, the Nicktoons meet in Jimmy's lab.
I'm Jimmy Neutron. Welcome to my lab.
This is amazing! He's a giant block of cheese!
Timmy, SpongeBob is a sponge from a place called Bikini Bottom. Oh, that reminds me. My neutronic moisture sealant will keep you moist outside of water.
This is the strangest morning I've had since, well, last Tuesday.
Wow, he can talk?
Of course he can, Danny. Where SpongeBob comes from, all sea creatures can talk.
As you can see, the developers did a great job with the characters' personalities, so the rest of the game's story is dull to the average gamer, but perhaps interesting to a young Nicktoons fan. I'll explain all of it. Skip to here if you don't want to hear it. So our heroes are fighting one villain from each of their worlds. Professor Calamitous from Jimmy's world, Vlad from Danny's world, Crocker from Timmy's world, and Plankton from SpongeBob's world. They go to Danny's universe first in an effort to go to Danny's school, but Vlad apparently built a castle over Casper High, holding Danny's parents captive, so Vlad sends them to the Ghost Zone prison, where the team sees Walker. After storming throughout the prison fighting troops, you eventually end up fighting Walker, which is more or less the only interesting part of this whole level.
This is my prison. I make the rules. You boys are never getting out of here.
Yeah, that sounds like rape. Beat his ass!
Fatality.
Then you soon find yourself in Amity Park. After leaving Danny's house, you bump into Sam and Tucker outside to inform you about citizens in Amity Park being overshadowed by ghosts, which sounds like the most uninteresting sex ever. After you breeze through Danny's town to get to Vlad's castle, which is pretty interesting I suppose, you then fight Vlad in his throne room later. Beating Vlad up is somewhat satisfying.
I don't believe it! You better believe it, Vlad. You've lost.
After that, you're done with Danny's universe. So what's next? You guessed it, Bikini Bottom. So you then have to follow Sandy to get to the Krusty Krab, who looks very weird I may add, but I'll show you what's even weirder. Watch this, guys. Yo, that sounds so wrong. What did they use to make these sound effects? After that, you head to Jellyfish Fields where Patrick gets sucked up.
Patrick, no!
Help! Kind of. It tickles. Sponge, help! SpongeBob! Help!
Dude, no one is fucking touching you.
Sponge-
What is your problem?
Ouch! Just SpongeBob!
As we go through the Jellyfish Factory, we end up fighting Plankton, which somewhat makes up for the recent mediocrity, I guess.
Make me! Slow down. Make
Or not. Bitch! 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 What's next? Dimsdale! Sort of. We head inside Crocker's fortress and then find our way to Fairy World after generating enough power. Fairy World was more or less the last level before we get to the Big Wand, which is where we fight Crocker. You're probably thinking Retroville is next. Well, prepare to be disappointed. Instead, we get an excuse to go inside of Goddard. You know, to destroy the flea bot that Professor Calamitous has been using to spy on us this whole time. Yeah, plot twist. Sorry guys, no Retroville level. Believe me, as a kid, I couldn't believe it. Yeah, so after one long level inside of Goddard and fighting that damn flea bot, which I hate, we fight all 4 villains at once. I must say I do appreciate the concept and how all the character personalities and interactions are very accurate, but we still have much more to talk about, and it's not all good.
I'll be back in a second.
Okay, first of all, this is a co-op game with up to 4 players, but if you're playing this solo, unless you're really young or have nostalgia goggles on, this game might just bore you to death. But anyway, Jimmy's lab is your hub area, and the portal is how you start a level, aside from the main menu after you unlock some levels, but moving on. All the characters have signature attacks and jump slams that stun enemies, and if a character dies you lose a life and they respawn. Danny punches with his fist and later unlocks overshadowing, phase shift, and his signature ghostly wail. I thought this was pretty dope when I was younger since I was a big Danny Phantom fan. SpongeBob uses his karate gloves and later unlocks the ability to absorb water, blow bubble bombs, and of course Doodle Bob distractions. Ayy. Timmy uses a star flinger, and later unlocks the ability to freeze objects and enemies, Clef the Boy Chin Wonder, and the ability to revive. Jimmy uses a basic weapon and later unlocks his Shrink Ray, Neutron Flare, and Quarterback. All of these abilities can be upgraded by using coins you collect. Yeah, I think Hero Pants took notes from this game, except this game does it better by telling you what each upgrade does, and the upgrades are very satisfying. You have the option to save the game or upgrade your abilities every time you run into Goddard during a level or when you finish a level. All of the characters use up power when they're blocking attacks with their shields or using abilities.
I need power! I need power! I need power!
So given all the attack options dedicated to each character, the combat is alright. The enemies on the other hand are mostly mediocre. But you know, new ones only show up every so often. In the PlayStation 2 version of this game, you have access to cheats that unlock you different costumes and stuff to use in the Nickelodeon cross-save feature. Unfortunately, this was never made available in the GameCube version of this game, which is weird because Barnyard, Lights Camera Pants, and Tact 3 were all on the GameCube. But whatever, I assume it was probably because of the limited storage space on the GameCube disc. I can't record the PS2 version right now, so I can't show gameplay of it. Moving on, I will say that the graphics in this game are just okay. They're not good or the worst in the world. As a 2005 game, I think it's alright. You can't expect too much from this game. It's also important to note that like Plankton's Robotic Revenge and Hero Pants, the gameplay doesn't really change. However, all the levels in this game look different from each other, and Blue Tongue Entertainment pretty much make up the mediocrity by giving you new abilities every few levels or so. So it's not like Hero Pants exactly. It's not bad. Generally speaking, the gameplay is okay. The game is good for being chill and laid back, but sadly it's not that epic adventure it should have been.
What do we want? Good music! When do we want it? Now!
Oh ho ho, here we go again. Let me tell you something guys, this game was advertised as an epic crossover, right? Your 4 favorite Nicktoons characters working together to stop a villain from each of their worlds. Really exciting idea, right? Well, a lot of the soundtrack is just elevator music. Don't get me wrong, the music isn't bad. It's definitely not bad, you guys know it's not bad. But if you take those nostalgia goggles off for 1 minute, you'll see it sets a very boring tone for this game. I really don't think the music fits at all.
Going ghost!
It doesn't matter if you're in a boss battle or in regular gameplay, guys. You're only going to get peaceful music that doesn't fit. Again, I'm not saying the music is bad, but why is it in this game? Sometimes when I'm playing the game, I don't even hear any music. This game is supposed to be an epic adventure. Ugh, I just hate it when games do this, man.
Don't worry, buddy. You're doing fine. I won't let you blow this.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm not going to sugarcoat shit. Not that I ever do. The gameplay, while being okay on paper, is boring as fuck. I'd say the game is only fun when you're young. As a kid, I explored every little detail and enjoyed it. I loved these cartoons growing up. This game doesn't have that lasting appeal that you can enjoy as an adult. In my opinion, it's not like that. As an adult, I see this game in a completely different perspective from what I saw as a young kid in elementary school. I hate it when that happens. But you know, it's all part of growing up sometimes. You can't enjoy everything that you grew up with. Of course not. It's just not as good as I remember it, and it didn't age very well. It was always an okay game, it just only feels awesome when you're a kid. It's just when you're a kid, you don't see it the same way, man. While I certainly appreciate the accuracy of the characters' personalities, and how Jimmy and Timmy remember each other because of the first Jimmy Timmy Power Arrow episode, you know, these guys clearly did their research. There are plenty of things wrong with this game still. Cindy is designed based on the original Jimmy Neutron movie and not the show. Not the first time this has happened, yo, because this has also happened with some of the Jimmy Neutron video games as well. And the character animations are pretty bad and lifeless in cutscenes. But, you know, they were using an in-game rendered engine, and at least they improved later in the sequels, but in this game it kinda looks like trash. They even remind me of Hero Pants and Robotic Revenge a bit when they have their backs turned around talking. You guys know what I'm talking about. Doesn't that look a little similar to this game? Yeah, it kinda does. Only difference is they at least tried to animate faces with in-game rendered cutscenes in the major scenes, but not between the levels, unfortunately. But looking at Robotic Revenge, I feel like this game really shows why modern games within around the exact same budget and time frame as this have no excuse for being bad. Nicktoons Unite just had a lot more care put into it compared to those two SpongeBob games I mentioned earlier. But overall, this game is still kind of boring and repetitive now. Maybe not to all of you, you know, but I get a vibe from this game that I don't get from any of the Nicktoons sequels. It's just this game just feels like crap to me. I'm sure many of you will understand. The characters don't always speak during dialogue sections and just force you to read text. I really wish I could have heard the Box Ghosts or Flying Dutchman talking instead of reading what they say in their voice. Who knows, maybe they couldn't get the voice actors, I really don't know. But the characters move slow as fuck, and I don't know why, but they just do. Slower than Hero Pants even. And my favorite here, for some reason, all the sound effects sound like crap. Over this dull gameplay, you have elevator music to make it even worse. Even though Danny's parents are clearly standing right there, he says,
Okay, let's get out of here before they notice us.
The gameplay cutscenes have no music in the background. Boring! When you go inside Goddard, Goddard can be found inside of Goddard. That pretty much tells you they didn't think this level through. Perhaps a bit rushed. Who knows? You'd think for a final boss we would at least get some epic music. At least. But nope, elevator tunes. This game is not all bad. In fact, I think the boss fights in this game are the best part. Many of you will probably agree. I enjoy fighting Walker and Plankton. What are your favorite boss fights? Let me know in the comments. I personally hate fighting Vlad, Crocker, and, you know, like I said earlier, that fucking Fleabot. I think those fights are very annoying. With all due respect to the developer, I think this game could have been better. Well, we have 3 sequels after this game, 2 of which are made by the same developer, which I would definitely play more over this game.
With Professor Calamitous in jail and the rest of the syndicate in your custody, I think it's time we go our separate ways. But take these neutron recallers with you. If anything like this happens again, we can work together to resolve it.
My final verdict of this game is subjective. Nicktoons Unite is a very average co-op game. There is too much respect for the cartoons for me to consider this outright shovelware. even though it kinda looks like it, but that's not the point. The game is around 5 to 6 hours long or so, which isn't bad. As a game for fans of the 4 cartoons, it's okay. Nicktoons Unite can be a fun game if you make it fun. It's not fun for everybody, absolutely not. Whether it's your Netflix and chill game, you play it with your friends, or this game really gets your nostalgia juices pumping, since I'm a video game reviewer, I can't use nostalgia to put this game on a pedestal. I give credit where credit is due, but criticize where it needs to be criticized, regardless of who the game is marketed towards, because that's irrelevant. Right, CGR? Shut the fuck up. Aside from the trending dude bro games, I think all video games should be timeless, and this game seems to only hold up in terms of nostalgia. This game seems to be a cash-in with somewhat decent effort put into it. While it's not an outright shit game, it's average. There are other Nickelodeon games that are timeless and you can go back to at any age and still enjoy, and those are the ones I really dig. Those are the genuinely good games. If I didn't play this game as a kid and I started playing it now, I probably wouldn't even enjoy it. Don't worry, this game is nowhere near as boring as CGR Undertow's videos. The gameplay is just too bland for me, and gameplay is what I care about the most in a game. Because of that, I give this game a 5 out of 10 with a pat on the back. Better luck next time. Nicktoons Unite is okay. Not really that good, but it's certainly not the worst game in the world. I've played much worse. Much worse. I loved it as a kid, but now I really don't care much about it. I care about the sequels, and I'm not gonna say why because we're not reviewing them just yet. And it's just mainly because nostalgia doesn't blind me. I really just look at it as it is, and this really is not that great. I'm just saying. I'm sure there are others who feel the same way along with others who may disagree. It's fine, you're entitled to your own opinion. This game still sold enough to spawn the sequel Battle for Volcano Island, but we're not there yet, so who knows what my next review will be. So till my next video, this has been a Fred review and I'll see you next time. Bitch!